It's really a great day on our part to have a person like Dr.B.V.R.Mohan Reddy garu to have an interaction session with the software entrepreneurs.
Now, I humbly welcome our President of the function, Secretary of Aditya Group of Degree and PG Colleges to this fine event. Ma'am, please. Dr. N. Sugna Reddy ma'am is a dynamic, self-motivated and dedicated young woman who works for the fulfillment of organizational goals and objectives. She has left her lucrative medical...
Now it's time to invite today's chief guest Dr. B.V.R.Mohan Reddy garu onto the stage. Sir, please. Dr. Mohan Reddy garu is an India's business executive and engineering manager who has founded and served as executive chairman of CYIENT. He has firmly placed India on a global map for leading edge engineering and research and development services by establishing CYIENT in 1991. He is a distinguished alumnus of IIT Kanpur. Dr. Reddy has taken up several leadership positions to promote higher education in India. He is currently the chairman of NASSCOM Sector Skill Council and Board of Governors of IIT Hyderabad. Dr. Reddy garu received the India's fourth highest civilian award, the Padma Shri, in 2017 for his contribution to trade and industry in the country. He is also the recipient of Distinguished Leadership Award of American Society of Mechanical Engineers in 2011, and also he received the honorary doctorates from JNTU Hyderabad, Andhra University, Kale University and JNTU Kakinada. Thank you so much, sir, for gracing the occasion.
Now, I would like to welcome V. Sridhar Reddy garu, General Manager, IT Promotions, Operations, IT ENC Department, Government of Andhra Pradesh. Sir, please.
Now, I would like to welcome Krishna Reddy garu, CEO, Krifi Infotech Kakinada onto the stage. Sir, please.
Now, I humbly welcome Dr. B.V.L. Naidu sir, Academic Director of Aditya Degree and PG Colleges onto the stage. Sir, please. Dr. B.V.L. Naidu sir is the Academic Director of Aditya Degree and PG Colleges. He has been associated with Aditya for past 18 years. Has highly...
Ma'am, I humbly hand over the mic to you, to the president of the event, to preside over the function. Ma'am, please. Now, I would like to call Sridhar Kosaraju garu, President of Information Technology Associations of Andhra Pradesh. Sir, please.
Good morning. This sound is not at all enough when a legendary person is here. Very good morning, dear students. Good. So, respected chief guest of today's gathering, Shri B.V.R.Mohan Reddy garu, who is the founder chairman of CYIENT and also a very dynamic personality, and also a guest of honor, Sridhar Reddy garu from the government of Andhra Pradesh, and Sridhar garu from Visakhapatnam, our Krifi Krishna Reddy garu, who is the president here, our academic director Dr. Naidu garu, our beloved chairman Dr. N. Sesha Reddy garu, all other entrepreneurs from Andhra Pradesh who came all the way from Vizag and nearby Kakinada and Rajahmundry, Also all dear future entrepreneurs and principals, faculty members, wonderful morning to every one of you who are all present here. Today is the day where we need to mark in our history of Aditya, because very role model and legendary person is here who will be interacting with all of us in a very short span of time. So today we have with us our honorable guest, Dr.B.V.R.Mohan Reddy garu, who will be sharing all his entrepreneurial journey in a bird's eye view with all his entrepreneurs who are all sitting in front of us here, and also all the future entrepreneurs who are all sitting there. So sir is actually a visionary person who firmly placed India on a global engineering research and developmental services map by establishing CYIENT, formerly its Infotech enterprise, in 1991. So, you know, his contribution towards his company is almost how many dollars, dear students? $3 billion. Yes, it's almost close to $6 billion. And his efforts leads to the creation of jobs. It's not just restricted to one particular state or one particular country, but almost to 14 various countries. And also he served as a chairman of NASSCOM during 2015 and 16, and he served as a chairman of Confederation of Indian Industry Southern Zone, and also currently he is the chairman of CII Education Council. He is a founding director. Dear students, when you actually watch television or any social media, our Telangana's Chief Minister KCR Garu and also Minister KTR Garu will be, maximum of KTR's speeches is mainly related to technology, and most of his speeches are based on T-Hub, right? Yes or no? So he is actually the founder director of that T-Hub, which is actually the largest startup incubation center in India. And also he took several leadership positions to promote higher education in the country. He is currently the chairman of Board of Governors of IIT Hyderabad, IIT Roorkee. And also, dear students, a very wonderful and prestigious thing, that he received India's 4th highest civilian award, that is Padma Shri, in the year 2017 to contribution of trade and industry. So he was conferred lifetime achievement awards from many associations, among which few are Hyderabad Management Association and Hyderabad Software Enterprise Association. So he also holds postgraduate degree from IIT Kanpur and University of Michigan, USA. He is a recipient of honorary doctorates from JNTU Hyderabad and RJNTU Kakinada, Andhra University and KL University. And now in his company, there are around 14,000 employees working under him. It's not just 14,000 employees, but 14,000 families actually. And this CYIENT Technologies, it's there in Kakinada also. It's situated in around 5 acres, and almost 700 employees are there with us here. And I'm really fortunate and most privileged to share the platform with him on the stage here, and also the same with our students here, sir. So I kindly appeal to Dr. B.V.R.Mohan Reddy garu to enlighten us, all of us who are here, with the words of wisdom and experience. I request Mohan Reddy garu to please take over the session. I request Sridhar Reddy garu from the government of Andhra Pradesh, because if any IT industry needs to come here to Andhra Pradesh, it needs to come through him. So I request him to speak for about 2 minutes and interact with our students here.
So I thank everyone for the participation, and I especially thank B.V.R. Mohan Reddy garu, and especially to come here and saying his remarks and how to progress, and what achievements he has done. And it's glad to know more from the chairman and of Aditya's group of institutes, and especially with respect to myself is concerned, I actually work closely with the government of AP in the ITNC department. I speak to different companies across the globe with all the India and as well as the global CEOs to get the IT companies to bring to the state of Andhra Pradesh. This is, I'm working under the guidance of C. Saurav Gaur, who is our IT secretary, and our Honorable IT Minister, Mr. Gudiwada Amarnath Garu, followed by our Honorable CM, Y.S. Jaganmohan Reddy Garu. Under their guidance and as per the policy, whatever is being defined for the government from 21-24, we are closely working with all the entrepreneurs and different companies across the globe to get the IT investors to the state of Andhra Pradesh. And we recently, I came from the Bangalore Tech Summit, which has happened in Karnataka, in Bangalore. And it was a great platform for the people from the industry where I can collaborate and tap that investments to here in state of Andhra Pradesh as well. So it was a great opportunity under the guidance of our CEO, Mr. Kiran Kumar Reddy Garu. So we have been working closely with all of the top IT heads, and I'm in discussions with them to bring the companies to ground in, especially to either Visakhapatnam, Kakinada or Tirupati. That is what the current focus. And we are concentrating Vizag, Anantapur, and followed by Tirupati as the concept cities, which has been informed as, that is the vision of our Honorable CM Sir to bring the concept cities. That is something like walk to work. Okay, that is how, under the dynamic leadership of Jagan Sir, we are all working, and to meet the expectations, we are 24/7 working towards the achievements of the state of Andhra Pradesh. I thank each and everyone who has been here and welcoming me to the dais and giving this opportunity to speak to everyone. Thank you, and especially I thank B.V.R.Mohan Reddy Garu. I'm also from the same Prakasam district where Sir is hailed from. And I am close associate of Y.V. Subba Reddy Garu, who is the TTD chairman. Thank you, one and all, for giving this opportunity. Thanks.
Thank you very much, sir. So now I request the chairman of Griffy Solutions, Krishna Reddy Garu, to address the gathering.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, sir. Respected Mohan Reddy Garu, Sri Shesha Reddy Garu, dignitaries on the dais, and student and entrepreneur fraternity here. Very good morning, and this is a great moment for Aditya, Godavari region, for having a blessed person who studied here and who has his first set. He's the one who initiated IT company first in Godavari region. In almost 2007, Sri Mohan Reddy Garu has started CYIENT Kakinada. That's also an inspiration for me. So while I was working abroad, I happened to know that there is STPI. Mr. Suresh Garu, Joint Director STPI, was also here today. So I happened to understand that CYIENT is here, and then this also Mohan Reddy Garu is like. I am Ekalavya for him, so which means I've got inspired by him, and then I've started an organization in the Godavari region. So today I wish his message to inspire a lot of people around here, and then great things to come, great going to go happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I request Sridhar Garu to share his thoughts with all of you.
Yeah, good morning everyone. So respected Dr. Reddy Garu and other dignitaries on the dais and also of the dais, students, welcome to all. Yes, sir, just to brief about the IT association, it's like a NASCOM in state of Andhra Pradesh kind of thing. We are like an apex body with 200 plus members in across AP with 4 chapters in all the cities wherever we have IT hubs. Like Vishakhapatnam, we have an hub. Like Vijayawada, Guntur, we have a hub. And similarly, Rajahmundry, Kakinada, and also Tirupati. So we have like all MNCs, like a big companies to the startups. Sir, we have a small request, sir, for you. In fact, we are doing a conference in January 2023, an IT conference, which is a 2 days conference, and we request you to grace the event as an inaugural keynote speaker. So that is our request, sir, and we will again officially formally meet you. And though we are a little bit late in the startups and all, so AP has been, picked up these startups, and with your inspiration, what you have done at the Telangana T-Hub and all, we also started our activity, and we have been closely working with STPI and also API, SAP Innovation Society on the startup front. And yes, Aditya also, I think they have been doing a great job on the startups and education front. So they have again 2 incubators, and we have almost like 26 plus incubators and across AP, sir. We started a lot of activity in the startups. Now, I also suggest like students to take the opportunity to talk to the legendary person, Mr. Reddy Garu. So that's all, sir. Thank you.
So now it's the time, as you're all enthusiastically waiting. So now I request our chief guest to share his experience and thoughts and give advice to all of us students, sir.
Dr. Suguna Reddy Garu, dignitaries on the dais, dignitaries off the dais, especially my dear friend Dr. Sesha Reddy Garu, and all my young friends, very good morning to you. This was a last minute addition to my schedule, and I wanted to do this because it was a request from Dr. Sesha Reddy Garu, saying that he wanted to meet me to meet the Electronics or Software Association of this region. But certainly I'm very delighted. Not only I find a number of software entrepreneurs, but I also find my young friends, the college students of Aditya Group. When I think of Aditya Group of education institutions, I really get bowled over. Because you look at the number of institutions Dr. Sesha Reddy Garu created, be it schools, then it moves, I believe, into intermediate colleges, degree colleges, engineering colleges, business colleges or management colleges, nursing colleges. I apologize if missed any of them. But that's a reflection of what one individual, of course his family is now involved, a lot of people supported him, can build in one generation. So what's the first lesson I have for all of you? If you have a commitment and dedication, you can conquer the world. We turned right into the street. There were buildings after building which had boards which said Aditya and Aditya and Aditya. That's all it was. But I think equally important is, it's not just building these institutions. I think his contribution for improving on the knowledge economy of this nation is something which is very admirable. Because what is required for this nation is that knowledge economy. I'll come to that in a minute. So therefore, from my side, a round of applause for Dr. Sesha Reddy Garu. So let me flip and then say, Dr. Suguna Reddy Garu, when she was telling me all about the Aditya group of institutions, she told me that, look, several of these students who are here with us are from the stream of mathematics, physics and chemistry, MPC. And of course, she further said, overarching, everybody knew computer science. But of the recent past, my mathematics, physics and chemistry has become somewhat different. I am trying to struggle to recall whether I mentioned this in my book. I think I did. I wrote a book in the recent past. I did mention this in my book. And this is in the context of, I should be careful, the context was somewhat different. context of what we call it as acquisitions. That is, a company like us buys companies all around. I believe in the history of last 32 years, we bought about 26 companies. The last is a company which we bought in Finland, a company called CYIENT, for about 1,200 crores or so. That's what we paid them. But interestingly, when we buy these companies, I explain to people saying that I have this philosophy called MPC, Mathematics, Physics and Chemistry. But my math, I keep telling people, is not 1 plus 1 is not equal to 2. 1 plus 1 is 11. That's my math, the new paradigm of math. Why? Because, if you just bring two companies, say $1 million, $1 billion, and $1 billion together, there's no fun in terms of just saying these two together now become a $2 billion company. That's a simple thing. That becomes simple arithmetic. Whereas if you make it $11 billion, then there is fun and games. Similarly, my physics is all about synergy. Synergy that can be created between companies. I do the same thing, they do the same thing, there's no synergy with it. I do something and they do something, but together it becomes a much larger pie. That's the physics for me. That's the synergistic physics, I call it. And surprisingly, the chemistry is a very interesting dimension it has. Chemistry is all between people. Because if you look at our acquisitions, I think there are two of them, I guess. Out of the 26 I'm talking about are Indian acquisitions that we did, but otherwise the 24 of them are overseas acquisitions. You buy companies in different parts of the world where you don't know the cultures, you don't know the people, you're meeting for the first time. Their ethos are different from ours, geographies are different, climate is different. We have a facility in further north of Chicago, where in the winter you probably have at least 2 feet of snow all around your office. But you can't say snow is there, I don't go to that office. But the key thing that I'm trying to drive is that chemistry between people is also important. That is how you adjust between people, how you respect each other. And how does this chemistry come in? If you start respecting the other individuals. So I'll stop there and saying the second lesson for you today is, we talked about the first lesson. Dr. Sesha Reddy Garu, individual with a great amount of passion and commitment, build this group of institutions. The second one is that certainly you learn all these math, physics and chemistry, but then you extrapolate it. It becomes somewhat different. So therefore you have to have a flexible mind. The mind which says, look, I can relate to instances which are different from what I exactly learned. Let's move on. The other reason I thought, it was important that I spoke to all my young friends today is that your future is really bright. I am envious of all of you. Because when I was going to college or when I was graduating, my future was not anywhere close to your future. Why am I saying this? The reason for this is that today, if you look at Indian economy, it is firing on all 4 cylinders. I just came back from the G20, B20 meetings in Bali. I came back over the weekend. I came back over the weekend. And everybody talks only about India as the future nation for the world. And of course, without any hesitation, people should add, they think that Mr. Modi now is on the international platform, a leader on that particular platform. And why is this happening at this point of time is because the rest of the nations have not done too well. It is not by a freak accident India does so well today. It is all because of a tremendous amount of effort that has gone in to make sure that it is where it is today. Actually, if you look at the parameters by which you can gauge it, there is something called Ease of Doing Business Index. Not too long ago, we used to be in a number called 81. In the last 5 years, we climbed to a situation where we are in number 40. So when we were in 81, we had enormous amount of challenges of doing business in this country. The economy, the global economy, the average global economies around the world are growing by about 2%. That's a very optimistic estimate. We think it'll be more like 1.5 or 1.75. I rounded it off to 2. Whereas our pessimistic estimate of India right now, it'll grow by 7%. So the economy is doing well. And certainly the government recognizes one other thing. If you look at nation building, nations have resources. For instance, take the examples of oil, the Gulf countries. They're rich with oil. You go to Australia, they're rich with mining. What are we rich with? What's the resources India has? What the natural resources India has? Human resources. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So what do we have as strength in this country is nothing but you, the people, human resources. So I think the government focus is to make sure that the human resources are further encouraged to build a nation which becomes invincible. Actually, the vision the nation has is to build a knowledge nation. A country, every country will depend upon India to look at nation for knowledge. And who are those knowledge workers? Every one of you who is in front of me. I keep saying this fairly often. I am past. What I see in front of my eyes is my future. And I'm seeing a lot of smiling faces and shining eyes. That makes me feel that my future is in very safe hands. So the country will build a knowledge economy and you should participate. To participate in that, you don't require anything more than what you have. You don't require anything more than you have. I'm saying this again. Because I think you look at the knowledge requirement. There's a great institution called Aditya. But given technology, you can go much beyond Aditya too. Nobody would stop you from going and reading from a MOOCs platform. Gain more amount of knowledge. Nobody will stop you from going to YouTube to learn a new concept. But all that will happen because Suguna madam will not tell you, saying that please go today, you have to read in MOOCs. That won't work. It has to come from within you. It has to get internalized. Develop an extremely curious mind. I have a way, I'm 72 years old. I still believe there are a million things that I don't know. But I honestly get an opportunity where I feel that I don't know something. The first chance I have, I'll go and Google it around. And I find an answer for it. I learn it. So if I can learn, I'm sure people like you, the grey cells are much different, can learn much, much faster. So if we want to build a knowledge nation, the key to it is pillar is people, and people is you, and those people's contribution can happen because of your attitudinal change. Because curious mind cannot be outside. You develop, you internalize it, and you start developing saying that I want to learn. I want to know why it happens like this. I'm fairly curious at this point of time that hissing sound comes. I'm saying, where is it coming from? My mind is working all the time on that. And I'm trying to figure out, maybe it's the audio which is making the sound. Maybe it is some water pipe that's there, or maybe the air conditioner is doing it. I'll try to process that. So therefore, everything that you don't know, everything which is there around you, try to find out. And the second one is, please make sure you experiment with things. Don't say, this is how it works. No, it doesn't work that way. If people said, look, this motor can produce only in physics, you can't defy physics for sure. Yeah, you can't defy physics for sure. But at the same time, on the same fundamentals, you can build several more things. And a third one is, please start using your hands. Not only your brain, but also build things. So what we think for future is what we keep calling it as it's a student-centric, experiential learning. You need to experience what you learn. So try to use what it is. If it's a small physics experiment, you started learning about aerodynamics of how a plane flies. Start building a small plane, even a paper plane. See why doesn't it fly? When it doesn't fly, you start understanding your physics much better. So therefore, the messaging I have for my younger group of friends at the back, I get very carried away by my younger friends. So therefore, I started with you, is bring a change into your attitude to become more curious, and certainly make sure that you experiment, use your hands, and you become an integral part of this knowledge economy or a knowledge nation I'm talking about. The agenda that was given to me for coming here this morning was to talk to budding entrepreneurs on the entrepreneurial journey that I've had. But I have a fairly mixed crowd, so I need to be extremely careful, because one of the things that I learned in Communication 101 is to make sure that you don't lose your audience. So if I probably talk too much about entrepreneurship, I might lose the audience. I'll try to make it as simple as possible. I was also a student like you. I was also very curiously listening to people like me. I wrote a book in the recent past. Book has a very small personal anecdote. This talks about in class 7 that I was not even having enough marks that I could pass the class. That was the midterm exams. My mother threatened me that she'd send me home to join my grandfather to become a farmer. I'm not demeaning the farmer, but that's certainly not the same class of work that we do. She said something more interesting. I have a sister who's a year elder to me. She always came first in class. So she said, if she can come first in class, why doesn't a boy come first in class? That was the aha moment in my life. And I certainly started, in a more serious note now, started questioning myself to say, why am I here? What's the purpose of my life? If I just come here and disappear, there's so many people disappear, so many even animals disappear. Poor things, they don't have the brain, so therefore they appear, disappear. But human beings have brain. So therefore, you start realizing that you need to contribute. Pardon me, I can't take my mind away from my very famous poem, which rings all the time in my mind. I'll go back and Google on a poem from a lady called Linda Ellis. The poem is called The Dash. So when people disappear from this world, on the tombstone, there's a name, there's a date they are born, the date they're gone. In between is just a dash. So you don't have those two dates under your control. What is under your control is just the dash. That's your contribution to this world. Make the dash as rich as it can be. So that's the purpose of my life. That's why when slowly start thinking about many things around me, I decided to become an entrepreneur. So what does an entrepreneur do? Is entrepreneur has a business idea, and with an intent of making financial benefits out of a business idea. Go and Google around, that's the answer you'll get. Who is an entrepreneur, has a business idea, he takes lots of risks, he puts in lots of things, he or she, and expects a financial benefit. There's nothing wrong. That's a perfect definition of it. Because a number of people shy away from saying, oh no, I didn't want to make money. I'll tell you, he's lying. The intent of starting a company is only to make money. There's nothing wrong. That's the objective that we have. I'm making money. I'll tell you what money I made a little while later. Because it's all white money that I made, so I don't have any hesitation in sharing with anybody. I file my taxes very regularly. So therefore, But then, when you become an entrepreneur, this is what some people miss, is that you also participate in nation building. So people might ask, what is this nation building? Dr. Sugna talked about my 14,000 employees. Actually, I think we got a little more updated. We're about 18,000 employees in the company. We just made an acquisition. But so you're doing employment generation, something which is very, very required for this nation today. I won't go into more details of it. So therefore, you participate as an entrepreneur in job creation. Not only wealth creation, wealth creation you did, wealth creation you shared with other people too. And the second one that you also do as an entrepreneur is that you are building the society. You're building the nation, you're building the society, you're building the economy. So let me get back to the economy for a minute. People read what's happening in Sri Lanka at this point of time. Yes? Can one of the young ladies stand up and tell me what's happening in Sri Lanka? Inflation. What else? Thank you. What else? Oh, if you can. Anything else somebody else can say? Add to what this young lady said? Yes. Economic crisis. Very good. What's your name? Kiranmai. What's your name? Satvika. Who's the third person? What else is happening? Okay, first let's give a round of applause to the two young ladies for standing up. So they said the right things. Inflation, economic crisis, but equally important is they have something called a balance of payment crisis. The balance of payment crisis would mean that a nation is unable to pay for the loans that they have taken. And so I keep joking, I did this yesterday too, but I'll say it again, except for probably people on the dais and maybe in the first two rows, none of you would have even been born when this happened in 1990 in India. Exactly the same thing happened. India was on the brink of a disaster. We were not paying loans to IMF. It is demeaning for a nation. What we were doing is, therefore, what happens then is countries have gold reserves with them. Very secretly, gold was being shipped because they can't be even airlifted. That's the amount of gold that had to go to Bank of London for paying the debt. From that situation, this country now has $600 billion of foreign exchange. They have the balance of payment situation has taken a turnaround. So who contributed to this? It's basically the industry. It's the entrepreneur. People like us brought in $6 billion worth of foreign exchange into this nation. So as an entrepreneur, you're not just saying I create money, but you also participate in economy. A third one is, it was a new law that's there, but even before the law came in, we all work in what is called as a CSR, corporate social responsibility. The mandatory law right now says 2% of our revenues have to be spent on some social work. We do a lot of things, but I'll give you one example, which will be very appealing to all of you, is that we adopt schools. We have 28 schools under our management. These are all government schools. And we run on behalf of the government. Most of them are in Telangana. I think there's one or two in Andhra, one or two in Delhi, and there's one or two in Mysore. But in these schools, when we adopted them, the girl child population would not be anything more than 15%, 1-5. And that used to be absolutely unnerving on me. Why should there be 15% girls and 85% boys? And especially another thing that used to happen, as you went up to the classes, that is, start from class 1, maybe reasonably okay. You went to class 10, you find fewer and fewer girls. We went back and did a lot of work on this area. I don't want to get into it. I can give you a 1-hour lecture on this. But what we always believe in is not on what we did. We believe in what was the outcome. We always measure ourselves against the outcome. I did a lot of work today, sir. So what? What is the outcome of it? What happened as a result of it? So what happened to all this effort that's come in? In all the 28 schools on an average right now, 54% of children are girl children. From 15% we moved it to 54%. I'm a very strong believer, and I therefore like to encourage my girl friends here. Unless you participate in the mainstream of the economy, it won't survive. It has to be, I keep saying, not necessarily in economy, in a family, in a school, in a college, in a society, in a nation, in any association. Unless we have an equal participation between men and women, it will never prosper. I think that's what we're pushing ourselves in terms of getting back the diversity and inclusion. So therefore, my entrepreneurial journey is just not because of making money, which as I said, I'll tell you, I made money. I will tell you about my money. I started this company with a small money called 20 lakhs. And this was in the year 1991. That was the savings I had with me. I put my savings on the block. I took the risk like any other entrepreneur and made my idea work. And today the company is valued at 10,000 crores. That's the money that it created. Don't mistake that all that money belongs to me, but a substantial part of it is still mine. So therefore, the point I'm making is, become an entrepreneur is you do several more things than just making money. Several more distinct dimensions that are there. I will only add to my good friends who are here from the industry today that certainly I think the timing, as much as I told my young friends at the back, that the nation is building a knowledge economy, so therefore there is intensity in terms of more amount of knowledge. And of course, if you look at IT, software, all of these are knowledge-based economies, so therefore there is more amount of opportunity in this area. I'll only further add saying that I think some of the governmental schemes that are running right now makes me believe for the first time in my life. I've been in the corporate world for almost 49 years. I started off in 1973 and it's 2022. If I blink my eyelids for a little while, I think 2023 will also come by. But I'm not seeing such progressive measures by the government. So I guess, today the governmental support is very high and the domestic market is opening up because we think the globalization of what was in the past is not going to be true with the current times. I talk about, we live in what I call as the VUCA world. People heard this word, VUCA? V-U-C-A. Not from the front rows, I'm sure. I'm looking back. Further to my back, my good boys are sitting there very quietly. Have you ever heard about this word called VUCA? Yes, sir. Very good. Stand up. Tell me what it is. Sorry? India's Twitter is VUCA. No. Not true. Sit down. Please sit down. So this world is going through what we call it as, it is uncertain. V is volatile. Volatile, uncertain, complex, and A is ambiguous world. It's a volatile, uncertain, complex world, ambiguous world. So in this particular scenario that we all prevail, I think companies have to become more agile. And we think there's a big storm ahead of us. People talk about the 2008 financial crisis. We think there's one more ahead of us in 2023. So when you get into a storm, you take a boat, go into the ocean, and suddenly the storm starts. What do? You make sure that you brace yourself to all the unforeseen uncertainties around you. That's what the industry has to do. So therefore, please don't go ahead and spend all the money. Don't go ahead and employ all those people. It's all important that we employ the right number of people, but don't employ too many people. that I think will become a challenge as we move forward. So I think the industry is doing well. What is happening right now, I'll start with this last comment of mine, and I'll open the floor thereafter, is that the whole world is going through a big technology shift. And I'm sure you've seen that happening all around you. If you were probably there 20 years back, this device was not there. 20 years back, this device, every one of you have with you. There's nothing unique with me. Tell me how many of you have 2 phones with you? Madam has 2. Madam is very hesitant to put up her hand, but my younger friends could be much braver. Put up your hand if you. Who has 2 phones? Let's be very honest.
Mobile is actually not allowed in the campus. That's
Oh,
the
no.
reason I think they are not putting up their hands.
No, but I saw, then I'll show you a secret, Suguna. I saw people Googling around already. So they have phones with them, but that's on the lighter way. But what I'm saying is, this particular piece of device would have been 20 years back, would have been 18 distinctively different devices. You can call out what it has in it. Let's start with phone, for instance, right? Phone was a distinct device that was there. Then they said camera is the other device that's there. TV is there. Alarm is there. Calculator is there. Torchlight is there. Look at them. All these, in my childhood days, ugly looking large devices, not even small. If one were to say that, I had to carry all these 18, I had a backpack that's required. No, anyway, TV I would not have carried, right? Because TV is also here. And what more than TV, I can record my TV and watch it whenever I like. And wherever I am, I can do my emails. Just before I came onto the dais, I was typing an email. So look at the amount of transformation that has happened with technology. And don't even pause for a minute, oh, all this has happened, so good. No. What will happen in future is going to be a lot more different from what happened in the past. It will be faster, it will be cheaper, it will be smaller. That's what will happen with technology. So as a result of that, to my entrepreneurial friends here is, today opportunity in terms of technology is infinite. Giving you numbers, they're mind-boggling numbers. Today technical spend is about $1.2 trillion. Trillion dollars, not $1 billion anymore. So the result is that opportunities are many because of the technology shifts that are occurring. So I would only say, and what we are seeing also is this technology has become all pervasive. Let me give you one last example. The local company, so you'll relate to it. Coromandel Fertilizers came to us at one point of time and said, Mr. Reddy, what we want to do is we want to optimize use of pesticide in the farms by the farmers. Do you have any technology associated with it? Optimize would mean reduce the amount of pesticide that is being spent by farmer, because I'm sure you know what happens is if you take a large farmland and poor farmer sees some pest in one side of the farm, he will go and spray the pesticide all over the farm. What happens at the end? Pest dies all right, but the rest of the pesticide, who eats it? Where does it come to? You and me. We also are born with, so therefore we want to reduce the usage of pesticide. So we said, we think about a technology, and technology was drones. So you fly drones, you make sure with these drones, what you're doing is, you will be in a position to get imagery. There are video cameras. Imagery makes sure that you understand what's the health of the crop. And based on the health, you can definitely be in a position to find out where exactly is the pest resident. And in a 1 feet by 1 feet tile, I can send my next drone with the pesticide to just go and spray there. We did this as what we call it as a POC, proof of concept. And we were so surprised, you can't believe it. Once we flew these drones with the imagery, what was the intent of flying the drone is to find the health of the crop in terms of where the pest is. Actually, to be more precise, to go and detect where the pest was the intent of flying the drones. Our people came back and said, Mr. Reddy, we now know 64 different parameters of this particular farm. From the same images that are coming in, we can know what the soil is, what the quality of soil is, what the stress in the soil is, what interventions the soil requires. Start with soil, then come to the crop. What's the health of the crop? When will it be ready for harvesting? What interventions are required? And so on and so forth. There are 64 of them, they came out. So look at what's the message for all of you? The power of technology. And thereafter, of course, we do so many interventions using these drones. So therefore, to my good entrepreneurial friends, this technology is so pervasive that it's not, I gave you an example of agriculture. I can give you an example of education. I can give you an example of logistics. And the one which is really making, at a big pace is healthcare. We think healthcare will change. The face of healthcare in this nation will change. We'll have remote diagnostics. We'll have remote surgeries happening. I'm sure people heard about 5G. What's the G on your phones right now? See, they know very well. Thank you. You did not hesitate to say that. So, can somebody tell me one good thing about 5G? Speed, good. What else? Accuracy, okay. Accuracy is always there. No, 4G doesn't drop data. It's faster than 4G, I'll agree. What else? Faster? Networks? What's networks? Okay, networks. What else? Improved technology. That's input. What's output? I told you, I'm not bothered about input. Improved technology. Yes, there's so many billions and billions of dollars spent on bringing the technology called 5G. But what's the outcome of it? It became faster. It became reliable. More importantly, it has reduced latency. The latency is down to less than a millisecond. So what does it mean? In a small example, is if a doctor wants to operate on a patient, the knife is on the patient, right? The doctor is remotely doing the operation, sitting thousands of miles apart. He only has a stylus, very similar to your mouse. He moves it around the body of the patient. He has got a digital image of the patient. And if the doctor sees a bleed happening, he immediately has to cauterize it. And if there's a delay, the bleed will kill the patient. So that's the reason why remote surgeries were not possible. With less than 1 millisecond latency, it's possible now to do remote surgeries. So what's the sum total of the story is technology is all pervasive. Technologies will bring lot of applications. Sum total of it is lots of opportunities to you. I'm going to stop there. It's almost getting close to 10 o'clock. And I'll open the floor. If you have questions, I'll be very happy to answer them. Is that right, Subhita? Is that okay with you? Yeah, please. So let's see how much you are. Yes, the young man has his hand up, but he needs a mic unless you have a big voice. Go ahead. Yeah, let me. Thank you. Good morning.
I'm having a doubt that if I want to start a company, what are the main points that I should take consideration?
Sure. Very good. Good question. What's your name?
Sai.
Thank you, Sai. Sai's question is, if I had to start a company, what should I take into consideration? The first and the foremost, Sai, you have to have a passion to start a company. If I say, sir, I'm doing a hobby in the side, and that is, what is a hobby like? Starting a company, I promise you, it will never work. It will never be, it will just remain as a hobby. But you're going to start a company very seriously, you have a passion associated with it. Once you have a passion, you just don't say, I want to start a company. Some companies are, let's start in some telecom, some agriculture. No, some business. Go back and find out a real problem. And then you have to have a absolutely distinctively different, unique solution to solve the problem. It can't be, you say, oh no, sir, Zomato guys, I heard my friend complaining that the food parcel came late. So what do I want to do? I want to start another Zomato-like company, and I'll use faster bikes, and I'll make sure that they don't get delayed. It's not unique. It is not distinctively different. You just copycat issues that are there. So therefore, what you need to do is A, have a passion. B, look at an actual problem, which will solve people's problem. It has to be local, it has to be societal, and so on and so forth. And also make sure that you have a solution associated with it. Then you have to generate money, you have to scale, you have to get people, you have to get marketing, go to market, all those will happen. So the first and the foremost to me, if you want to really become an entrepreneur, think about it 10 times. Because it's very easy to get carried away, that it's financially amazing, but you don't know how many challenges you also face. In my book I write that it's a role of an entrepreneur is a roller coaster ride every day, except that it is free of cost. I don't pay for my roller coaster, and I go through it every day at no cost. So people know what's roller coaster? Yes, you do. So what happens at the end? What do you feel at the end? I got a big affirmative yes. So what happens at the end? One word. You feel good? You don't feel good? Thrill. Yeah, very good. Thrill. You have the pleasure. You have the pride. I succeeded. People said this damn machine will throw you off. Similar is the case with even entrepreneurs. At the end of it, you have pride and pleasure. So did I answer you? So therefore, don't think about the money. Don't get carried away. Look at the problem. Look at the solution. Then start the company. Please sit down. Thank you. We'll move on to the next question.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
My name is Sai. I'm a statistics student. I have a question, sir. How did you overcome the dark situation of the year 2020?
The COVID crisis?
No, sir. I have gone through the Wikipedia page of the company, CYIENT company. I have seen the share prices in the year mid of the 2020, and the share prices was very low as compared to the previous. And after 2020, the share prices were very high compared to past years.
Okay,
What are the changes you made? Situation.
Sure. Good. Thank you for asking that. Yep. The share prices are determined by market. And we all believe as entrepreneurs or in businessmen, share price should be determined by performance. No denying at all, they take performance. But in addition to performance, there's also something to do with their emotion. People emotionally get attached to these companies in terms of their performance. So 2020 was a difficult year for sure. And COVID-19 was blasting from everywhere. And we had this situation, I don't call it unfortunate, but that's the situation that we were in. 1/3 of our business came from one industry vertical called aerospace. And what happened during aerospace is all aircraft stopped flying. So airline companies did not make money, aircraft manufacturers did not make money, all the R&D projects, they said just stop them. We couldn't move forward with them. So the result is revenue did dip, especially in aerospace business. So therefore, what have we done? So the question is, that's the reason why there could be some more reasons. But the key reason was our aerospace business tanking out, brought up share prices down. So what does an entrepreneur do? This is not something which we thought it was new, because at one point of time, aerospace business was more than 50% of our business. But when COVID struck, it was already down to, so therefore the strategy is called de-risking. You bring other businesses into place. So we brought other businesses, so it came down to only about 30% of our total revenue. That's what happened. But then wisdom stuck to us saying that no, this is no good. Let's look at the growth areas that are there. We actually just finished an investor meeting on Friday last week. So, and we did implement it to the extent that I feel so thrilled to share with you that communication, which is the big winner right now, because everything is to do with communication. We all communicate with each other. Actually, without your knowledge, your phone is communicating with other people. It's getting data for you. It's storing data for you. So therefore, that's communication. To give you a flavor how communications are at this point of time, how many people are there in the world? So how many people are there in the world? 8 billion. About 6 billion of them have phones with them. They're all connected. But here is further something interesting. In 2020 itself, which was number was 7 billion and 5 billion, let's forget for a minute. But we also had other 15 billion devices which are connected on the same network. So what's happening is the communication is becoming a big, big business. So now communication is a larger business for us than aerospace. So how it did not happen just like that. Lots of effort goes in. So we do a lot of correction. You asked me, what do you do? So we brought communication into play. We think at this point of time, there is an enormous amount of shift, especially, as I said, I just came back from the G20, B20, for sustainability. People are talking about circular economy. So the design has to be not, I will design something, suppose I design this. After that, what do I do when it does stop working? Just ask one of our helping boys to come and say, throw this off. That's not going to be true anymore. We want to say that, this can be, it doesn't work all right. It doesn't mean you repair it. But if you want to throw it off, at least 80% of the material that's inside has to be reused. That's only when this world will become sustainable. So we're working on areas of that nature. I can go on and on. Another very favorite of mine is mobility. So we'll see a lot of communication between cars. It's all mobile ways of doing it. I wouldn't be around, but I'm sure you will be around. 30 years from now, you lift your head and look into air in Kakinada. You'll see a lot of drones which will be swarming around. They might be controlling your phones, they might be controlling your car, they might be controlling your fridge, all of that. Actually, the fridge might be communicating directly to the grocery store saying that, you said your name is Sai, right? Sai's home does not have potatoes, so let's bring potatoes for him. Seriously, this is not a fiction story. Thank you. Yes, please. Use mic.
Sir, as data science being a latest emerging technology, what would be the roles and trending technologies which should be learned to emerge as a successful data scientist or for some other role?
Sure. Thank you. So you asked me a good technical question. So let's look at data sciences a little more deeper into it. What's happening in the world at this point of time is, am I audible now? I played around with your mic, right? Sorry about that. So what's happening around the world is that we keep saying that there are 4 forces at play. The first force is computing and storage. Computing and storage is becoming faster, cheaper, smaller. So the result is people did hear about, you're all computer science people. You're all computer science people. That's okay. You're all computer science people. So who was Gordon Moore? Who is Gordon Moore? I'm looking at the back of the hall. No hand going up. Who is Gordon Moore? What is Moore's law? Computer science. I feel disappointed. I saw a lot of smiles and shining eyes, but my eyes are drooping off. Gordon Moore was actually the founder of Intel. Intel is the chip that goes into all our computers. They have the majority of it. So Gordon Moore in 1976 made a prediction. He said the amount of wafer that can be condensed on a chip will double itself every 18 months the size will become half and the cost will also become half. That was called Moore's law. Please go and learn about this. Young lady, do you know about Moore's law? You didn't know, right? So you did not know. So go back and learn about Moore's law, what Gordon Moore said. So the result is, what we are seeing is computing power is becoming double every 18 months. So in the recent past, in the last 5 years, people went back and say, when Gordon Moore made this prediction, people said that he's a crazy guy. This will never happen. But they went back and, about 3 years back now, they went back to revisit whether Gordon Moore was right or wrong. And what was the answer? He was right or wrong? No, he was wrong. Why? It didn't take 18 months. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. It didn't take 18 months. It's taking less than 18 months for computers to double its power. And that's what is happening. So that we think that it's relentless. It continues to go. And the second one, which is another interesting phenomena that happened, is that how many senses do human beings have? 5. Very good. I'm going to clap for all you guys. You get the right answer. So everyone said 5. Very good. But then, these 5 senses we have, this computer is also having now. These are basically sensors, we call them. The computers can now feel the vibration, they can feel the heat, they can also see. The vision is called, computer vision. They can see much better than us. Because, it can increase the picture or decrease the picture, size it instantaneously. Whereas, you have to move it up, move it down. People like me have to put on glasses and look at it and so on and so forth. That's not needed. So therefore, vision is phenomenal. They're hearing very well. They're in a position to actually taste. And what is the last one? We have eyes, ears, nose. They can smell. So people ask me this question, Mohan, what's the latest one that you heard about the taste part of it? So actually, they can detect which is good liquor and which is bad liquor. Human tongue does not necessarily detect that so easily. So, but the point I'm saying is, these sensors at one point of time were very expensive also. But now they become extremely cheap. The same thing of Moore's law is applying to them. And they're sensing everything and anything. For instance, there are sensors inside this machine, 3 of them at least. So what is happening is these sensors, what do they thereafter? They sense and then do what? They put the data out. That's data sciences. And so therefore, they put data out much faster than we can ever imagine it to be. Even brain cannot run as fast as these machines are. And the third thing that's happening is, we just talked about, is communications. So data is not staying here. If you put a sensor here and say, the sensor is getting some data, but the data is now transmitting. So what are we saying is, we have oceans of data. And that data can be extremely meaningful. That's basically the science around data sciences. So, umpteen number of applications we are seeing in terms of data sciences. So, you collect data, you aggregate data, de-aggregate data, and start cutting in different forms and shapes to get meaningful results out of it. And finally, the same data, what happens is you run AI algorithms. That's when you're getting instantaneous decision making. It's not any longer that you say, this is information technology which comes in periodically. It comes now real time. Real time data that's coming in. For instance, there's so many challenges that we are having at this point of time. It was amazing that, data is being created by sensors. But and I also know communication technologies have improved quite a bit. But the data is so large, even my communication technology does not allow me to take it. So I need to selectively pick up the data. Selectively pick up the right data. So what do I require? I require edge computing. You know what's edge computing? I need a processor within the chip to decide which is a good data, which is bad data. Only good data then gets uploaded upwards. So your future is the brightest future I can think about. But you need to get all the skills. Say, I just got a degree in engineering, it doesn't matter to me at all. What skills do I have in engineering? I'm a data scientist, amazing. But get all the right skills in data sciences to ensure that you have great future and a great contributor. Thank you. Please sit down. Yes, sir. Last. There are two hands up in the end. The mic has to go there. I can't hear them. Or the lady gets a chance, then they'll come back to you.
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Pravalika, and my question is: can we know that what makes you found Scient? I mean, the problem for your solutions.
What made me find Scient? Found Scient. Well, I found a problem that was there, and the problem that was there was a real problem, and the problem was that in the Western world, people were finding it exorbitantly expensive to design products. I'll give you a real-time example. An aircraft engine, there's something called a GTF. I'm sure all of you fly an Airbus 320. On a 320, there's a new engine called the GTF, Gear Turbofan engine. So the management went to the board for an approval. They wanted $1.6 billion for building a new engine, which is, I won't get into it, it's called Gear Turbofan, etc. The board said no to it. They said this is not economically feasible. They said go rework. They went back, reworked. They said all that we did, it's come down to $1.2 billion. Board said no to it. The board member said go back to India, use Indian engineers, see how it works. They then went back for an $800 million budget. So what is it? India can do products much cheaper at a lower cost, continue to maintain the same quality. That's the problem. The problem was they wanted low cost. The solution was India. But then it's not as simple as that. They wanted some people, I gave some people, that is not it. You have to continuously provide them quality services. You do have the project management, because you can't say, give me the project, I'll deliver it to you. When do I deliver it? Yeah, don't worry about it, boss. Next month I'll deliver it to you. No, it can't be next month. If it is 5th of December, it's at 8 o'clock in the morning. Two of my colleagues are sitting right here. They know exactly what it means making a commitment to IHS. One of them runs a very large commitment of ours with 400 people, 400 engineers just on one account called IHS. So therefore, it is not, what the idea was, our ability to provide low-cost services, high quality, consistent in terms of delivery, was the original proposition. It doesn't stop there thereafter. Customers are asking, can you innovate? So therefore, I won't go and get into what is innovation, but then innovation is a big skill by itself. So the company is now on that war path of saying we need to provide more innovative solutions. So these are the ideas with which I started. Did I answer your question? No. Thank you. Yes, sir. Let's go back to at the end. Last two questions. Yes. I'm sorry about that, but I will definitely.
Good morning, sir. My name is Samuel and I am from Artificial Intelligence student. And what are the technologies you using in your company related to the artificial intelligence? As you mentioned, AI in the data scientist question, sir.
So
what are the technologies, sir?
I'm not a technologist. I have to confess that. I'm a very peripheral guy who can talk about a number of things. So do one thing, write down my email address. It's called mohan.reddy@scient.com. Send me an email with your question. I'll introduce you to the Chief Technology Officer of the company, a gentleman called Rajesh Kinney. He'll answer that question for you.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
Next question, please. I can take a guess, but it's not worthwhile. There are two more hands at the back.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
This is Rajesh, sir. I'm from IHS School of Computer Science College, sir. So my question is very simple, sir. So as you're seeing in India, there are so many startups are starting daily. But the startup failure rate is very high, sir. When I saw the startup success rate, it's just 3%, sir. but the startup failure rate is 97%, 95 to 97% range, sir. So I would like to ask you one question. So which type of startups would you prefer to start as a aspirant graduator?
See, there are two things to it. One is that startup failure, you said, is 97%, 3% succeeded. That is not a surprise at all. It's a little bit on the higher side. Our back of the envelope tells us 50% of companies or startups will completely collapse, 100% sure. About 30 to 35% of them will do what is called as lifestyle business. You're a professional, you make 10 lakhs a month, you make 10 lakhs a month, you make 15 lakhs a month, same amount of money you can make by being a professional. You make in business also. That's not actually entrepreneurial journey. A third part of the guys who become successful, about 10% is typically in the global market. Maybe it's low in India. So therefore, if you want to do a startup, you should be prepared for failures too. That's point one. We'll park that for a minute. The second point is, what areas do I succeed? I don't know. If I knew that, I'd have been starting, I'd have probably called n number of people and said, start this, and you'll be successful. I don't know anybody who knows this either. I don't think anybody would ever know this either. So therefore, it all depends upon what you like, what's your passion about, what are the skills you have. Suppose I say, let's start a startup in medical sciences. Healthcare is doing very well. Are you a doctor? You're not. Do you have knowledge of anatomy, physiology? You don't. Okay? So therefore, it won't be possible. So therefore, and can I go and ask everybody? I can't. So the result is, you have to find out what's the strength in you to decide what is the entrepreneurial journey that you want to undertake. We'll come to the front. They'll also see you if you stand up, because they could. You take the mic and stand up and look around. They'll also watch you. You can come and talk to them.
Hello everyone. Very good morning. So it's about mostly the students and the young generation who are just coming into workforce. So the issue is the Generation Z, they feel very entitled. Well, thanks to the gadgets and the way the parenting has been done. Well, whatever you want to say. So they really don't know how to brace themselves for failures or what to really expect. So I just thought, what is your perspective as a message, to all of them? Because I know most of these people are going to start their work pretty soon. I mean, maybe in a year or two. So I just wondered, especially about, how do you sort of adjust into, when you come into workforce, and entrepreneurs who want to be, how do they really, brace themselves for failures? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that question. So how do entrepreneurs brace for failures? And you'll be very surprised. The answer I have is we celebrate failures. I'll rephrase it a little bit and say we celebrate learnings from failures. I'm serious about it. At one point of time, 2% of our company's revenue was spent on innovation. There was something called the Corporate Innovation Center that we built. It's a fairly nice building. If you look at my book, there is an engine on the back cover of it. That engine actually hangs from the center of the building. It's an amazing picture. A gentleman called Mr. K. Chandrasekhar Rao, who is the Chief Minister, came to an office for a meeting. And while he was, he never does this. He was walking out of the office, very sheepishly asked me, Mohan Reddy garu photo deenchukocha din mundani cheppi. So I have a picture of his and me in front of the aircraft engine. So what I'm saying is, we built a building for corporate innovation, spent 2% of the money. We lost a lot of money in the process too. So, but we learned from what are the failures. I keep saying one rule we have to follow is, you can make mistakes. We allow people to make mistakes. Two of my colleagues are also here. But you can never make the same mistake one more time. Then you're done. So then you have not learned anything, right? If you have made the same mistake over and over again, second time also, I might say, I might have a little room. So that is the way in which we look at it. The way in which we look at it, failure is part of life. In failures, you learn out of it. Even entrepreneurs, actually, at one point of time, we still have not got it straightened out, is that failed entrepreneurs in T-Hub will actually get an experience certificate from T-Hub called they were actually entrepreneurs in residence. And that will actually be given by JNTU Hyderabad. And the final workout it is. So therefore what happens is it's an experience by itself. Don't think it's a failure. You might lose some money in the process, no denying at all. You might even lose other people's money because you raise money in the whole process. But that's part of life. Investors like me think some we win, some we lose. Now, other point of it, some of you are starting your careers at this point of time. How do you face failures? How do you face stress, etc.? Stress, failures, etc. are all part and parcel of your life. You can't say that, I will never fail. I have failed. Did I have lows in my life? I did. How do you come back? Suppose, you have a very low at one point of time in the day. And you say, no, I quit this place. That's one way, right? But if you quit, what happens thereafter? People will just call you a loser. But do you want to be known in this world as a loser? No. So if I get into that situation of getting very low, which I do, I go back next morning with renewed energy to fight it out, saying that I can't be a loser. People have to call me the winner, and that's where I am. That's how I am. That's what made me what I am. Thank you very much. I think I will stop there. It's 10:20.
Thank you very much, sir, for interacting with our students very patiently and enlightening all of.
Like particularly the state of Andhra Pradesh, like in the tier 2 zone, like for IT. So what should be the strategy to create a vibrant ecosystem, IT ecosystem going forward in the next maybe 5-10 years?
See, what does the IT industry depend on? What does it depend on? What's the raw material for IT industry?
Human capital.
Human capital.
Yes.
Absolutely. So long as you have good human capital and you retain that human capital in Kakinada or Vizag or wherever the place is, I think that is the first thing that you should do. So if you make, I'm sure there are institutions like Aditya, there are other institutions in Hyderabad, there's JNTU towering on the backside of us.
Yes.
So if you can make sure that this becomes the talent hub, people will get attracted towards this place. I think that is the key driver, I feel. So therefore, that is the rest of the stuff. There's infrastructure is one thing which is important. I guess it's come a long way. There's no denying at all. People like me struggled when we started. This I think is almost like 12 years, 15 years, 12, 14 years, 14-year festivity that we have here. And we struggled because our people, there are other things like software infrastructure. What is software infrastructure? Hospitals for my parents. Software infrastructure, children's schooling. Software infrastructure, time to spend in the bar in the evening. So can I create any of these three things that I called? I can't. So therefore, I think they have come a long way. So from 12 years to what it is. I think the key to you to make sure that people come here, and we also find one other thing, is that somehow the youngsters are so attracted towards the mega metro cities. I have seen people, 3 years later, they'll all say, sir, I like to go and work in Hyderabad. Any reason? Your parents are here, this is your home. No, sir, I like to go and see Hyderabad. My friends are all in Hyderabad. So therefore, if you can probably make this talent pool qualified and large, that's the solution to it.
Thank you very much, sir. So now I request Dr. Suresh Garu, Additional Director, Software Technology Parks of India, to please come onto the stage and address the gathering.
Good morning, everyone. Respected Mohan Reddy sir and Shashi Reddy Garu and friends. After Chief Guest address, I think I should not talk more, but I would like to recall some good moments what we had here in Kakinada. In fact, STPA was started in 2007 in Kakinada. When we started, it is also the answer to Sridhar Reddy Garu also. When STP got started in Kakinada, at that time CYIENT was Infotech Enterprises Private Limited, if I'm not wrong. So February 3rd, 2007, Infotech was inaugurated in Kakinada. I'm the one who was the in charge for Kakinada STP at that time. And Aditya College is like home to me. I was associated since 2007. Every time when there was any kind of student interaction, sir used to call me, Satish Garu used to, regularly we are in touch. In fact, CYIENT is the company, it is like engine for IT companies in Kakinada. It started with 30 employees, later it has grown to 50, 100, 150, and today almost it has its own SEZ facility, giving opportunity to nearly 1,000, if I'm not wrong. So that was the growth we have seen with CYIENT in Kakinada. So, sir, on this forum, I can say only one thing. I came all the way from Vizag only because of two persons. One is Mohan Reddy garu and another one is Shasha Reddy garu. Sir, we missed IT bus in AP. Almost 20 years. There is an opportunity for the startups now. STPA is also working very much to promote the startup entrepreneurship across India. Almost with our STPA COEs, almost we are supporting 500 startups. In Vizag also recently we started Industry for COEs, sir, in association with RINL. So it is to bring all public sector undertakings on board and give their problem statements to the startups to get the Industry for solutions from the startups. And we are the IT industry, IT association, state government, STPA, we are all working very hard to bring startup ecosystem together and to take the startup culture to the next level. Sir. So on this forum, as you hails from this place, you belongs to this place, you should act as a like advisory for the startup so that it can definitely reach to the next level. Sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We created an amazing model at T-Hub.
Yes.
It's now world-renowned place, nothing short of that. That's the press that I get. So therefore, why don't we go ahead and emulate what T-Hub has done? So send some people, I'll connect you with MSR, he's my CEO, M. Srinivas Rao. So I will have him talk to your people. And then if you require some support, we'll definitely come to you. But see, Rome is not built in one day.
Sure,
you understand that. We've not lost the buzz. Look at what verticals, what specializations are there, and we'll work it out.
Yes.
So I'll certainly introduce you to MSR at some point of time.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you once again. I will talk to you later on some other day. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So now I request our academic director, Dr. Naidu Garu, to deliver his vote of thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Padma Shri, Dr.B.V.R.Mohan Reddy Garu. Thank you for your wonderful and inspiring message to our students. Definitely your thought-provoking message will ignite the young minds of ICHA degree colleges. Definitely few of the students will come out with the entrepreneurial skills and they can start their startups after completion of their graduation. Your message is amazing, sir. Definitely we have learnt a lot. I thank our chairman, Dr. N. Shasha Reddy Garu, for arranging this wonderful platform. And I thank other dignitaries on the dais, Narendra Garu, Sridhar Reddy Garu, and our Secretary Madam Dr. Sugna Reddy Garu, and local Kakinada and in and around Kakinada software entrepreneurs and faculty members and press and media and our students for making this program a grand success. Definitely, we cannot expect this kind of wonderful gathering with a Padma Shri and a wonderful entrepreneur to meet the students directly and giving answers to the questions raised by the students. It's a wonderful opportunity for all of us. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for spending your valuable time with us. Thank you.
I just have one request to all my young friends. Please read my book. It's called Engineered in India. It's a Penguin published book. It's there in Amazon at this point of time if you want to buy. But otherwise, I think Dr. Sesha Reddy Garu, Dr. Sugna is getting a lot of copies in the library. Please read the book. And thereafter, my humble submission to you is, please tweet or write in Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn. I think your inputs will be a lot beneficial to many other people. So your commitment to me is, you'll read the book and then tweet thereafter. Thank you.